Welcome to Mitchell Levy Presents, where I dive into the essential elements of clarity and credibility. Hosted by global credibility expert Mitchell Levy, today's episode offers invaluable insights to make you think and act more credibly. Join us as we explore living your values, boosting your credibility, and leading purposefully. Hi, Mitchell Levy, global credibility expert. And I'm so excited you get to join me at one of the funnest times of my day. It's talking to an expert in the marketplace. In this place, somebody who I absolutely adore. So talking to somebody in the marketplace that I really have a strong positive feeling about, and giving them the opportunity for them to be able to show themselves to you, or more importantly, for you to be able to see who they are. So I have Avigail Schondorf. God, I probably didn't do that well at all. But Abigail, great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here at the most fun part of your day.
It's always fun because I get, this will be the last thing about me, I get so much value when I get to see somebody's essence, when I get to see who they really are. It's sort of this additive thing. I can have as many meetings in a day as you throw my way, as long as I don't get the BS of people pretending to be somebody else.
I've tried. It doesn't work.
Maybe at some point in time we've all tried because that's what we were taught, but it's not the right thing to do.
Nope.
Anyhow, Abigail, who are you?
My name is Avigail Schondorf, and I am a lot of things. I am an ADHD entrepreneur. I am a mother of two amazing daughters who are also neurodivergent and wonderful. I am a very passionate advocate for neurodiversity and inclusion, generally speaking. I'm a social worker by training, with an expertise in working with adult male criminal offenders who, incidentally, have a huge overlap with ADHD, which I found out later on in my journey. I'm Canadian. I'm Israeli. I am a puzzle.
Okay. Thank
you.
As
are we all, I think.
As are we all. So tell me about your daughters.
Oh, my daughters are the best. I have two girls. They're 7 and 10, and they couldn't be more different from each other. One is, I guess we would call her type A. She thrives in routine. She really enjoys organization. She likes being in control. She likes to know what to anticipate and what to expect. She has an incredible memory. She is possibly the smartest person I've ever met in my life. The little one is a Tasmanian devil, all over the place. She's laughing in the background at my description of her. She is hyper creative. She's very spatial. So she has like a little engineer problem solving brain. She's opinionated and outspoken. And somehow they both are exactly like me, even though they could not be more different from each other.
It's amazing with kids. And sometimes kids don't actually have to be a blood relative. It's for those people who are just part of your life, how much they can actually take your attributes. Now, some of them come naturally, right? You can't, if you put it in order, which maybe sometime in the future we can, you might get something different, but it's kind of cool to see how they come out.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, my kids were my path to my ADHD diagnosis. I saw them, and they are very unique humans, with very, very unique brains and very specific, unique needs. And I was looking at them and kind of looking at the other kids, and I get these kids. Their brains are my brains. My brains. My one brain It just sometimes
No,
feels
no, no.
two
No,
separate
no,
paths,
you and I have
right?
talked. You have more than one brain. I got you. Okay. Mhm.
Multiple brains, one cranium. Um, and I realized that something was probably going on. And I'm a social worker by training. So ADHD and autistic characteristics or traits are not unfamiliar to me. Um, I just never considered applying that to myself. And then when I saw them and I realized that they were so unique and different and they are so similar to me, therefore I'm probably unique and different. And the things that I thought in my life were depression or anxiety turned out to be ADHD and autism.
Tell me a little bit about the self-diagnosis of depression and anxiety.
It actually wasn't a self-diagnosis. Um, Interestingly, I have a long history of mental health support, um, starting probably from like 12 years old, and then when I moved to Israel, much more intensive because I was living there on my own. Um, and it wasn't until I first self-diagnosed as ADHD and started researching and then sought a diagnosis that I understood that so many women have an experience of feelings of depression and anxiety, which is simply untreated ADHD. It's not chemical depression, it's literally a reaction to the fact that your life stinks. So you're very normal for feeling depressed and anxious when your interactions are full of shame and being told that you're doing things the wrong way. A person with ADHD has 20,000 more negative interactions as a child than their neurotypical counterparts. Just constant critique of a different process, a different operating system. Um, so things can masquerade as depression when it's just a legitimate struggle.
Fascinating. There's so much to unpack there, but I'm going to put that to the side for a second. And given all this, one of the communities that I know you like working with are men.
Yes.
All right, tell me why.
I love working with male entrepreneurs who are privately drowning. Because when a man, not when somebody, when a man,
By the way, thank you.
yes, when a man
Well
admits
said.
that he needs help. And when I say admits, I'm not saying that as a critique or a criticism. It's very, very difficult to expose yourself and be vulnerable, accept help as anybody, and definitely as a man in a Western society. You have an expectation to have all of the answers. And when you don't have all of the answers, all of a sudden you are not sexy anymore. And nobody wants to deal with you. So even acknowledging that you need help is incredibly powerful. And I always thought I was going to be a boy mom. And I have these amazing girls, but I got all this boy mom energy to work with like boys, but men now and their dreams and what they want and the fact that they need to be a little bit vulnerable and they need help sometimes and they need to be able to unpack what is going on and ask for a little bit of clarity and ask for a little bit of guidance without being shamed or like overly exalted. Just to have a space where you can get clean, pure feedback and nobody's judging you for it.
There's so much there that's interesting. What's the first step when, let's say, a guy comes to you and he actually has already acknowledged, at least to himself, that he needs help? What do you do?
Well, if he came to me, then he did more than acknowledge that he needs help. He said something out loud, which is huge. Acknowledging to yourself and actually going to find someone who might help you um, are two very different steps. So at that point, you're really ready for some help. Um, and I cannot sell you anything that you don't need. I'm physically incapable to the point that, I mean, we've had conversations about that, but I can't do it. It makes me itchy. So everything starts with a clarity call. Everything starts with a strategy call within your area of need. So we have 6 categories of strategy calls right now, um, that are all just variations of what a person might be dealing with right now. So we have a decision call, which is there's a lot of things going on. I don't even know what the first next step is, what the next right thing is. There's an implementation clarity call. I have some help, but my help is not working. I am not, it's not, something is disconnected and I don't know what's going on. There's something that's broken. I need help with my implementation. So that requires clarity. Um, and first, I'll give you one more example. But for business people starting their businesses, we have a strategic business call of, I want to start a business. Great. What you need is a roadmap that's going to be customized to you. So we always start with a clarity call of some sort, so you know what you really, really want.
Okay. Sorry, I'm processing that as you're speaking. I'm thinking to myself, I was much more sort of like words on a piece of paper, and I saw you look back at your notebook versus your heart. The thing that you said there that was really valuable is I can't sell you what you're not ready to buy.
It's not what you're not ready to buy. It's, I cannot sell you something you don't need. And I don't know what you need until you know what you need. And right now, you don't know what you need. So that not knowing what you need takes a bunch of different forms. But whatever it is, we're going to find it.
Better. So that means you have the intent and commitment to do the right thing by the person you're serving.
Because everything has to be customized to you. Especially, I work primarily with people who have ADHD, and I am of the belief that if you are a successful entrepreneur, there's a high likelihood that you have ADHD. There's just a real big overlap.
Raise
Hey,
my hand.
um, there's a really big overlap because we have a lot of the things that you need to be a successful entrepreneur, and to we have the grit that you need to succeed in this business world. A lot of people are going to sell you a lot of stuff. And as a person with ADHD, you have learned to navigate the world on your own and to rely a lot on your own internal compass and on what you are telling yourself. You are always going to be limited by the amount of information that you have at the time. You know what you know, you do not know what you do not know. If you go to the mechanic and you know something about cars, you will get ripped off less. If you go into the marketplace to seek help and you have a roadmap telling you the type of help that you need for what you want in your business, you're going to find the help. You are much more likely to find the help that you actually need than to get swindled by some person who's selling you something that sounds good at the time.
Was that your subtle way of saying when you do a strategy session with somebody, you're creating a map so they understand what they really need?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the outcome of a strategy session that you get in your hand.
Right.
Is that map. Your map.
Give me an example of somebody who took a strategy, 2 examples. Someone who took a strategy session and did something interesting with the output.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody took a strategy session who they didn't do anything with it at all.
So we're going to start with, we have a lot more examples of people who did do things with their strategy calls than who didn't, because they're really, really hungry to know what to do next. But one of my favorite strategy calls was with a coach who was certain that her business was coming from a particular subsect of her coaching population. And she had data and numbers and all kinds of things. And she was just so sure that she was neglecting this big money maker in her business, and she was constantly showing up ashamed.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah. And when we looked at the numbers and we broke it down, we realized that the thing that was causing her the most shame was 6% of her revenue. And she didn't want to be doing it anymore. So when she got rid of that, everything just opens up, everything aligns. She also realized that she needed an additional tier for her clients because she had people who would come. And when we evaluated what was going on, they were coming and staying and moving from program to program to program to program, but they had capped out. So she needed a new program. So we built her a funnel and then she hit her goal like the next month because she was able to roll over all of the existing people who really, really loved her.
By the way, I can so see where, by the way, not a male, by the way,
I
but
know.
I can so see where it's so easy to be in the middle of that world and not seeing the really specific points, the lever you needed to release, i.e. 6% of revenue, and then the lever you needed to put into place to increase. Like, it's so easy not to see that when you're in the middle of it. So good job.
Yeah, because it feels like the thing that you have to do. I
and
am going to give you an example of a
and before you
man.
do, how does she feel? What was that to her? What did that do for her?
She really came in with a narrative that she was messing everything up. Like I'm not capitalizing on my opportunities. I'm messing things up. I did this huge push at the beginning and I was successful then, and since then things have kind of petered out, and that really is indicative of my failure. When really her retention was through the roof and people loved her and stayed with her. 16 out of 20 of her last, like her most recent clients who we looked at were return people. People love you. They want to stay with you. There's ways to solve that. So the release of the story that you're telling yourself, which for women is very often how they're failing. For men, I'm going to give you an example. My next example, for men, it's not that I'm a failure. It's not quite that same flavor. It's, this is just what I have to do because this is what I have to do. And releasing yourself from, I have to. This is just, I don't have a choice. This is just the thing that needs to be done, and I'm the one who has to do it. Changes your life.
All right, let's hear this other story.
Yeah. So, it's hard not to mention people's names. So I
Oh, I
was,
know that's the hard part.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a social worker, so it's not quite as hard for me, but I have to put that hat back on. Somebody came to me and he was all over the place. So he came to me after a couple years after he lost his brother and a family tragedy and just a really difficult couple of years. He had tried to start a business, a virtual assistant agency, actually, with his family members, and then he kind of backed out of that, and he wanted to do trucking, and he was kind of all over the place. So when when we got on the call, I asked him what he wanted to do, and he's a mechanic now. He really enjoys working as a mechanic. And he said that, like, what he needs to do is to start some sort of certification to train other mechanics to do this and that. I'm like, okay, but what do you want to do? And it turns out what he wanted to do was inspire people through traumatic times. Okay, cool. People, young men and boys. Okay, we want to inspire young men and boys during traumatic times. Any type of trauma or more specific? Okay, young men and boys who are grieving. And the way that he wanted to do this was by teaching them skills and tools. So I said, great, you're a mechanic. There's 50 boys and girls clubs within a 100-mile radius of you. They all have parking lots, and those parking lots have cars. And everybody in that place needs to learn how to change a spark plug. So if you want to build up your reputation as somebody who inspires young people, young boys who are grieving and going through a tough time by teaching them empowering skills, go do that. And he has been posting every single day since on social media. He's been doing this everyday posting things. He's on day 15 of 365. And he's awesome. I mean,
Wait, but that sounds like somebody who took your advice and did something
he did
with
take
it,
my advice.
versus the example of someone who didn't take your advice.
I know, but I wanted to give you another good one.
That is a great one.
Someone who didn't take my advice. Oh man.
Less detail, by the way.
I know, sad.
By the way, very powerful in terms of the stories and the ideas you've come up with.
Yeah, thank you. I like to put the pieces together for people because there's a lot there. You have the talents that you have and the things that you want to do and the gifts that you have. So let's just put everything together. Let's use them. Someone who didn't take my advice. The thing is, everything works out eventually. So I keep thinking of examples where people didn't take my advice and then their life kept moving and eventually pieces did fall into place for them along the same path as the plan. It just took a little longer or they took a couple detours. But the steps are the steps. The plan is the plan. If you have a gift and you have a desire and you are the kind of person who I talk to, then it's going to work out for you at some point.
Nice. So how does it feel? Obviously, in the first two examples, when somebody really hits it, I know how it feels, but you could tell me. But how does it feel more importantly? So tell me how that feels. And then also more importantly, when somebody doesn't immediately take the advice. Now, your assumption is, and maybe it's proven out, that they will eventually fall into what it is that they really need to do. But how does it feel in the first month or two when they're just not?
I've had a lot of years of practice with this. So like I said, I'm a social worker and my expertise is working with adult male criminal offenders. You cannot find a population more not going to take your advice than that. But when you show up for people, you might not take my advice now. I'm going to check in on you whenever you cross my mind. Hey, what's going on? Thinking of you. Where are you at? I'm gonna watch what you're doing on social media. I'm gonna send good thoughts your way because I genuinely believe that your path is your path and you're gonna get there. And people do. They do. Not at first. And it is frustrating because it's frustrating because I can see what you need to do and I want you to do it. And I'm just, come on, like I see it. Your life is right in front of you, but it's not my life. It's not my story. It's not my journey. It's not my strategy. It's not my plan. It has nothing to do with me. I received your vision and I had the honor of putting it down on paper for you, but it has nothing to do with me and your pace is your pace.
I'm tracking. It's a lot like being a parent.
It's exactly like being a parent.
You know,
when I said I had that boy mom energy, it's like being a parent.
Yeah. So have you run across somebody who comes to you and you feel like they're not credible? There's something icky that you're feeling. Oh, and do you take them on as a client and try to fix them, or do you kick them out?
That's why we have different buckets. Everybody comes in a strategic call. In a strategic call, I sit with you for 60 minutes. I can work with pretty much anybody for 60 minutes. I haven't met a single person I can't work with for 60 minutes. I might, but I haven't yet. Do we take you on as an implementation client? You would have to really be the right fit for not only our model, but you really need to believe what you're selling. You really need to believe what you're doing. And we can help people who just want businesses to have businesses to make money, but they always fail. 10 times out of 10, those businesses fail. So I don't consider me a failure. The business was a failure because there was no heart in it. It's devoid. If it's devoid of purpose, devoid of heart, devoid of vision, devoid of feeling, then it's just not going to last.
I would assume that you wouldn't take on that person as a client, because I know I wouldn't.
I don't. We do not take anyone on at Alisto as a client. We would refer them out to any number of very credible virtual assistant agencies. But my people are very, very precious. My team is very precious. We spend a lot of time and resources and energy making sure that they're all good. We make sure we have the best working conditions in the Philippines. Everyone gets paid well, that they get sick days, that they get vacation days, that they get Christmas off. Every single person on my team told me that the Christmas that they first worked with me was their first Christmas off since they had joined the workforce, working in BPO, which is outrageous. I would not expose those people to your trash yuck energy. And if you don't believe in yourself, I definitely don't believe in you.
Love that. Hey, listen, so if you're listening, you're watching, and Abigail is someone that you want to speak to because you are a male entrepreneur who is privately drowning. It is okay to admit it. Abigail, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
LinkedIn is a great way to reach out to me. You can find me Avigail Schondorf on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I am actually the only person in the whole world with this name. So pretty much anywhere, if you pop me into Google, you're finding stuff about me. You can also follow the podcast at AVHD if you are an entrepreneur with ADHD. That's AVYHD. And if you need implementation help, you can find us at alistova.com.
Gotcha. Hey, so is there a question that I should have asked you that I didn't?
You didn't ask me why all this got started, and maybe because it's obvious.
Okay. So I'm not sure what this is. So why did whatever this is?
I mean, we're talking business, not me. I was, I didn't have a hand in that. But Alisto got started, the implementation arm of everything that we do, because I needed to build a business to make money. And I could not conceive of building a business without the help and support of a full implementation team. So I knew that before I could build a business to make money, I needed to build a business that would help me build businesses, because I wasn't capable of sustaining it on my own with ADHD and a lack of executive function. And then once I built that, I stopped, because it turns out that was the thing that I loved, and that I needed to be doing all along.
You built a business that powers your ADHD capabilities. Love that.
Yep.
Abigail, thank you so much for making time and spending time with me today. I loved it.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It really is. Really is. So listen, for you guys who are still here, this is now your time to spend Abigail's cred dust. Send that clip, send that idea, send that thought. The thought that you could be a male entrepreneur who's privately drowning. If you want that one, send that one. Make sure you you tag Abigail, you tag me, and spread her grad dust. She's an amazing human and someone worth getting to know. Abigail, thanks again for joining us. And everyone else, thanks for joining us on Leaders Living Their Values. I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to be here. I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye now. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in today's episode. Like, subscribe, and share your aha moments on your preferred platform. Remember, credibility starts with clarity and living your values. Learn more at mitchelllevy.com. Until next time.